Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Yap Sessions with Anne. If you're new here, my name is Anne, and this podcast is exactly what it sounds like. Real conversations, real experiences, just a lot of yapping about life in my 20s. I feel like everyone talks about saving, investing, and budgeting, but no one really talks about how stressful money can be in your 20s. So in today's episode, I'll be joined by Marie, and we'll be touching on these topics. Before we jump in, I do want to say that this conversation is for educational and informational purposes only. This should not be taken as financial, tax, or legal advice. So this is Marie, and if you haven't watched one of my other episodes, she's already been a guest, but for those who are new, tell us about yourself, who you are, just a small background.
Not small, but I'm Marie, and actually also Christine for some people. Like, she calls me Christine. I'm her cousin. I'm in my mid-30s. I'm a mom of two boys. I work in corporate America in HR technology. I'm also a business owner. I'm a stepmom. I guess, yeah, those are the different hats that I wear.
Okay, nice. So in today's episode, we're gonna be touching on money. So what would you say that money was like growing up for you?
Yeah. I think money was always a topic growing up. I wouldn't say my family was poor, but we weren't necessarily wealthy. But I just remember my mom always saying that she didn't have money. No matter what I wanted, it was always, nope, I can't afford that. Nope, I don't have money. Yeah, that was definitely a resounding sound. And then I think even as I was getting older, then I started to see my mom's struggles with money. But that was when I moved to America. So that was, maybe we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's weird. Maybe it has to do with America, but growing up, it was kind of different. It was more so, not that money was not an issue, but like even if money was an issue, my mom was
She never
trying.
talked about it.
Yeah, she never talked about it, and she always found a way. And I think some things that we're probably gonna touch on too is even like maybe that was your experience, but even if like my mom struggled, but there was always people in the family to help around.
Yes.
So I think that was really
And
big.
we'll get to that.
We'll get to
as
that.
we get older, because that was my experience too. I think growing up when I was younger, where it wasn't really like big expenses my mom needed to do, but it was always like, I don't have money for this, I don't have money for that. As I got older and we had real expenses, like trying to go to college.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, me too. So, you said when you moved to the US, that's when your perspective changed. Can you touch a little bit onto that?
Yeah, I think before, when I was younger and in Haiti, or even in Canada, I always heard we don't have money. But, that was never an issue with like buying clothes, having food. Like, I had what I needed to survive. And when I moved to America, it was harder. My mom was a single mom with three daughters, doing it by herself. And, I spent pretty much all of my high school. We were living in a 2-bedroom apartment. My mom had to rent out one of the rooms because she couldn't really afford the rent. So I spent all of high school sharing a room with my mom and my sisters. And we didn't have a car really most of my high school years. So as I was getting older, I also noticed that, our standard of living was definitely different in America versus what it was when we were in Haiti. So I wouldn't say we were like, we were not poor, like I couldn't eat. It was never that bad, but it was also definitely not, we weren't comfortable. Like I couldn't go to all the events or activities that other kids at my school would go to. I just couldn't afford those things. And I think I was always very aware of that. So my sisters and I always tried never to even ask my mom, because we didn't want her to feel guilty that she couldn't necessarily give us what the kids. Because my mom also, when we moved to America, she brought us to a more affluent area in New Jersey, but we were living in an apartment.
Yeah.
So, and we were the family that was walking to ShopRite on Route 46 if you're in New Jersey, or taking a taxi to go get our groceries and stuff like that. So I think as children, we were aware of that. So we just tried to be very mindful of what we asked my mom for and when, because we knew that like financially she was under a lot of stress.
Okay. How do you think like this shaped your childhood in a way, like financial stress? Were you aware of what financial stress was when you were younger?
1,000%.
Or
So I guess for a little context, this, but for everybody that's watching, my mom has 3 daughters, and I'm the oldest of 3, and we're about a year and a half apart. But my mom always kind of raised me, I think, in a little bit almost like I was a lot older than my sisters were. So from a very young age, like in high school, I was helping my mom with finances as far as paying, like, not necessarily me paying the bills, but writing checks, making sure that bills were paid on time, going to the grocery store. So I definitely was almost like her little partner as it related to just managing our household. So I was a lot more aware of what we could and could not afford from a very young age. And I was definitely a daydreamer as a child and as a teenager. So I definitely think all of that impacted me, because my motivation, like, to get to college, to get through college, was one day I don't want to worry about money.
Yeah.
Because I saw how much my mom worried about money all the time.
Yeah.
And I knew that it was stressful for her. And I knew she was doing everything she could for us. But I knew that, like, for me, I was like, I need to be in a place that, like, if I want to go buy something, I'm just going to go buy it.
Yeah.
So definitely that shaped, I think, me as a lot, especially for college and my career.
I agree. And I think sometimes that's my perspective too when it comes to my career or getting a job. I was having this conversation the other day with somebody and I was like, I truly believe that anything that you want to be, you can achieve it if it's realistic. And there's 150 ways to make something work. You may have to struggle more, work 10 times harder. But I think with having that perspective, seeing it, not necessarily living it, because I think living in Haiti was different for me, is I think it's important to invest in your education and yourself and to do everything that you can to not have to think about money, especially if you grow up struggling with money.
1,000%. And, like, I think a lot of people eventually get there, but I think when you grow up maybe in that environment, you probably get there a little quicker. So, like, I was the one, when I graduated college, I was making good money, but I was saving my money because I was like, I'm getting out of my loans. Like, so within 6 months of college, I paid off every loan. So I felt like, well, probably some people when they were 21 weren't trying to do that. But for me, it was because I think I lived through that. I was kind of like, I just need to be in a better place financially. So if I have to sacrifice now, I understood why I was doing it and I was willing to do that.
Okay. What do you think are signs that people are dealing with financial stress nowadays, and how can people support? I can start. I feel like, well, I don't want to say I can start, but I think it's hard in today's generation because a lot of people are pretending versus before. I think unless you're really struggling, like you're really, like you can't afford like your necessities, it's obvious, like people who are homeless and so on. But I think with social media and things like that, a lot of people are pretending.
I agree with that.
So I think it's difficult for me, at least, to tell.
I completely agree with that. I think, at least the people I'm around, because I'm not, I think there's different. I think there's just an unrealistic, also sometimes expectation of lifestyle, and at which point where, I know people that say they don't have the money to afford certain things or to have the life that they want, but they're driving luxury cars, they're going on trips, where I'm like, that's not, to me, struggling. That may not be where you want to be yet financially, but you're not struggling. So I think, for me at least, it's hard to know when somebody is struggling financially at this point, because I see there's two people. I think people that are very extreme, it's very easy to know, right? Somebody who's really needs help. But then I also think that there's people that might be struggling, maybe they're in a lot of debt, but sometimes they kind of bury their head in the sand a little bit and they don't address it. So then you don't really know what's going on, in my opinion. And I think for at least people I'm around, that's probably more the latter. Like, I don't have anybody I'm intimately around that I think is really struggling. But there could be people that maybe have debt and just are not where they want to be financially. And
what do you think about that actually paying off college debt and being in debt? Why would you tell people in their 20s? I'm in my 20s. I want to hear this.
So I'll be honest. I think my perspective has changed. I'll tell you, in my 20s, I was all about avoid debt at all costs. I think it was based on my childhood, because I saw my mom be in so much credit card debt, and I saw her not be able to get out of it, and how much it was sunking her. So all of my 20s, up until probably the past year, I have been anti-debt. So it was like, get rid of your student loans. If I use a credit card on a regular basis, I pay it off every month. My only debt is really like my house. So that I lived like that for up until 35. Even my husband didn't have that mindset. Within years of us married, I was like, we're getting out of your student loan debt. And we were like, that has to be done. Now I think I'm learning that maybe not, that might be a trauma response for me. And that debt doesn't have to be such like a
bad thing.
You just have to be mindful of what kind of debt and why you're doing it. So big example for me is our business. So last year we started our own business. So we are entrepreneurs, and it's a money pit. So I am in debt in that regard, but like I guess understanding like assets versus how much equity that I have, where it's like don't just look at like the debt that I have, but like the bigger picture. And I'm not gonna claim that I'm there yet, but I'm wrapping my head to that. Like an example that I have, one of my biggest advice: get a financial advisor as early as you can.
Mm-hmm.
That has been a game changer for us. We've been with our financial advisor for probably almost 10 years now. And he has opened up doors that especially as immigrants, that, my parents, I'm a lot more financially well off than my parents ever were.
Yeah.
And there's so much that I just didn't know about money. I learned through my financial advisor.
I agree.
So that's my biggest advice.
Wait, how much is a financial advisor?
So usually you pay a lot of them. You have to do your research, but the one I have, and there's many of them, they get a percentage of what you invest.
Okay.
So it's not necessarily like you're paying out of pocket. You're just getting in the money that you're generating for you. They do take a percentage of it.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So you have to do research, because there are some that try to sell you like a flat fee. Mm-hmm. We were not comfortable doing that. So the one we have, yes, it's a flat percentage. Okay. And I highly recommend it. And you can also, I think it's great if you can find someone that you can also even grow with. Like our financial advisor has also grown in his career, where I probably, when he took us, I didn't have the net worth I have now, and he probably would not have taken me back then if he was where he is now. So it's been nice to like grow with him. And yeah, he's taught us so much. So as it relates back to debt, for example, years ago, we were upgrading. We had a house already. We wanted to buy a bigger house because we were having children, etc. And again, I'm scared of debt. So we were trying to make it work, and he opened up a line of credit for us against our stocks. Mm-hmm. I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't even know that that a bank could give you money just because you have stocks with them. And it's not even a regular loan. Mm-hmm. You kind of just pay it off when you feel like paying it off. It's open-ended.
Yeah, it's like a line of credit. Yeah,
it's a line of credit. So I had never heard of that though. So he was trying to convince us, not because we needed it, but he was like, just has a safety net, because you guys are clearly really uncomfortable with the fact that you're upgrading and you're gonna spending a lot more money on a house. For both my husband and I, were both immigrants. It was like a big mindset shift to think that we're gonna own a home that costs as much as it was gonna cost. So we were very worried of what that would mean for us financially. And at that time we were gonna be carrying 2 mortgages. Yeah. So he opened line of credit. We had it for probably 4 years. We never touched it, because we were so afraid of using it. Yeah. It was just there. Yeah. And then I think they ended up closing it because we never used it. And then when we started the business, he opened it up for us again. And thank God he did, because if he hadn't opened a line of credit for us, we probably would have had to close our business at this point. Yeah. And again, that's something that I would have never known if it wasn't for that. So that's probably my biggest piece of advice. Is getting a financial advisor. As early as you can. I mean, you have to do some research to find the right person with the right financials for you. But as early as you can, it is worth it. Okay. What do you think, going back to the 20s and how people live their life, what do you think is one of the biggest mistakes that people make in their 20s? Not willing to sacrifice. Okay. To me, I can take that. To me, I think your 20s are about building. Even your 30s, to some extent, are about building. Yeah. And the way I see it is those are the years where you probably have the least amount of responsibility. And it's okay to maybe not keep up with the Joneses, what other people are doing, and just sacrifice, because when you're in your 40s and 50s, then you're gonna really be living. And that's when it really is gonna even matter even more. And if you don't set yourself up in those years, it's that much harder then. For me, my desire, I don't want to be working till I'm 65. Yeah. Right? And that is a very real thing for my husband and I. We are putting ourselves in a position that when we want to retire, potentially in our early mid-50s, we can do that. But that would not happen if you're just blowing through all of your money in your 20s. And I feel like a lot of people fall in that cycle in their 20s and 30s. And they do eventually. It's not just that you're going to be poor and you're never going to retire, but it does set you back. Yeah. So what do you think is a good balance of being comfortable in your 20s and saving and investing and all that good stuff? Because I have friends that I know really shrink themselves. I don't want to say they stop living, but they limit a lot of things, just to push for the future, which I guess it's fine to some extent. And I guess depending on what your version of success is or happiness is,
it can work, I guess. But how do you live a good life in your 20s without like just shrinking yourself?
I think it's how you said. I think it has to be balanced, right? And I know I'm saying that in your 20s about sacrifice. I drove a brand new Acura in my 20s, so I'm not gonna claim that I was out here, in the struggle. But I think it has to be a balance. I think you have to be smart about saving in your long term. So like I'm gonna give you concrete advice right now. I think every 20-year-old should be maxing out their 401ks.
Okay.
You have no reason not to be doing that.
Okay.
I don't care what your company matches, but you should be doing that, because when you're in your 30s and your 40s and you're seeing that money and that money is compounding, that is setting yourself up for when you are going to eventually retire, that you're set.
Okay.
If nothing else, because it's only going to, once you add children, homes, etc., it gets harder to potentially still do that. So definitely do it in your 20s.
Okay.
But I do agree that you should still live, right? You should still travel. You should still live the standard that you want to some extent. I just would make sure that you're smart about it. So if you have $100,000, don't spend all $100,000.
Nobody in their 20s got $100,000.
Well, I'm just saying as a number, right?
Yes.
Don't spend all that money traveling, buying nice cars, buying clothes.
Yeah.
Maybe spend 60 doing that. Maybe like 20 towards like your long-term investments, and maybe like another 20 more towards like your trips.
Okay.
You want to go on trips. So I feel like, and I'm just using as an example, right? It's a different balance for everyone based on whatever responsibilities that you do have. But just don't spend all of it all at once. Definitely think about the future.
Okay. That's good. With that too, with people in their 20s, I feel like a lot of people compare themselves to people on social media.
And it's hard not
So what do you mean it's hard not to?
It's hard not to, because it's so in your face, right?
It is, but I think...
But you have to fight it. You have to fight it,
Yeah.
because social media is also not real.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, the amount of people, like, I'm gonna say this, like, growing up in Haiti, a lot of kids my age, you probably seen kids I've been around in Haiti, or so a lot of people do fraud. Like, I'm not gonna lie, a lot of people do fraud. So I keep saying this, and I kept saying this online, it is not normal for you to be 20 years old to have a Chanel bag. Like, this is not the typical norm unless you come from a very wealthy family. Like, I feel like a lot of times nowadays, everybody want a Chanel bag, everybody want a Birkin, everybody want Louboutin. Like, it's fine to invest in yourself, and if you have the money, whatever.
Don't be reasonable.
Reasonable.
That's not reasonable in your 20s. That's not. But I agree with
Some
you.
people can't afford it though.
Some people can, and that's what I'm saying. It's gonna look different from everybody, right?
Yeah.
If your dad is super wealthy and you are able, he's gonna give you the Chanels and the Birkins. Have at it.
Yeah.
But the majority of people are not living that life.
Yeah.
And I do think that people be faking it for the gram, and it doesn't just happen in your 20s.
It happens every.
So many people, like, you see a lot of influencers that they're doing a lot going. They have a lot going on, but you don't know what the real is.
Yeah, I do want a Chanel bag though. But I'm not buying a Chanel bag, but I do want a Chanel bag.
I can't say you shouldn't have a Chanel bag, right? But let's say that you say, okay, I have $20,000 for the year that I'm gonna for my excess, whatever I want.
Yeah.
And maybe you're like, I want a Chanel bad enough that I'm not going to travel in my entire.
Oh yeah, I'm not doing that.
But I'm saying though, that could be, and to me, that is still okay.
Yeah.
If that's what you want, but you are still smart and methodical about it. Where you still are having your own boundaries and your guidelines, and you're just like, this is what I'm prioritizing right now. I think that's fine to do that.
Yeah. The thing too is, like, I think just going around the same subject, there's like affordability versus if you should. Like, can I afford a Chanel bag? I can't afford a Chanel bag, but should I?
Probably not. That is correct.
So I think that
is correct. It's funny you say that, because that was me when I first got to college. I went straight into consulting, and I had a pretty good salary at the time.
Yeah.
And I kind of wanted a BMW.
Yeah.
My mom and I, it's funny because she drives a BMW.
Yeah.
But my mom and I were talking about, and mind you, this is someone who I came from going to high school. We never had a car.
Yeah.
So I'm going to buy a BMW. So my mom and I sat down, and she was like, well, so we were going back and forth. Could I afford a BMW? 1,000%. Should I? Maybe not. So I ended up settling for an Acura, and I don't regret that at all. Yeah. Right?
I mean, it's still a luxury car.
Yes, but it's a different financial price point than a BMW.
Is it?
Yes, it is.
I feel like I know people who drives Acura. They pay the same price that I pay.
It depends what kind of Acura they're driving, but Acura typically is
like, yeah.
lower than a BMW.
I mean, it is lower, but I feel like now all cars are expensive.
I mean, yes, the cost of living has completely blown up. But at the time, a BMW would have been definitely more for me to afford than an Acura.
Yeah.
Or I would have had to get like a lower level BMW that like maybe didn't have, was super basic or older.
Yeah.
Whereas I was able to get like a brand new Acura.
Okay.
For a reasonable price.
That makes sense. So with people in their 20s, let's say, who never started budgeting before, what would you advise them or tell them? Like, how did you budget in your 20s? Like, taking out the whole financial advisor part.
One, pay attention to what you're spending your money on. This sounds super basic, and there's probably a lot of tools out there. I'm still old school. I still use Excel.
Me too.
But because I like the
and there's an app too.
There are apps. There are a lot of great apps. Whether it's Excel or apps, I do think you should pay attention to what you're spending money on. You cannot really budget if you don't know how much money is coming in, how much your life is costing you, and how much money you actually have. So you cannot ignore that. I think that's probably the first thing. You cannot ignore your finances.
Yeah.
You have to know where the money is, where is it going, when is it coming in. That's number one. And then through that, you can also find opportunities then to save or to reduce costs, right? Like if you were seeing that, like, hey, I have a Hulu membership, I have Netflix, I have this, I have that, do I really know? And maybe I'm trying to save money for whatever reason. Maybe I can downsize, but without you even looking, you wouldn't even know that.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think to me, that's the number one thing that every 20-year-old should be doing. And I would want my kids to even before they're in their 20s. Like, you should know how much money that you have and have a plan for your money. Another thing is try to save. Start saving, even if it's $100 a paycheck.
Yeah.
Put some money aside just so you get in the habit of doing that.
Yeah.
And
I would definitely recommend or say saving and having like a high yield saving account, and have at least, if you can, like $20,000 in your high yield saving.
I wouldn't even say a number. I think it should be at least 3 months of your cost of living.
Yeah. Okay.
Because
that's true.
Yeah, everybody's on a different price point, but you should have at least 3 months.
Yeah.
Especially in this job market, where you just
never know with AI.
Yeah, you just never know. And I do think 20-year-olds are going to be impacted a lot, have been, and will continue to be impacted a lot by AI and everything that's happening in the job market. So yes, have at least 3 months of your costs and your expenses in savings, in a high yield savings account. I love that you said that. Your regular checking account, savings account is not a high yield savings account.
It's not, yeah.
You need to find and there's a lot of high yield savings account that are just available online. You don't even need to go to a bank. They're very easy to set up.
Yeah.
At the very minimum, you should have that.
Yeah. So another question is, after going through your childhood, college, and now that you're in your life, do you think that money reduces stress?
Yes and no.
Okay.
I think yes in the basic sense, right? Like, there is a level of stress to not have to worry about, can I afford my groceries? Can I afford my bills? There is, so I don't want to claim that that's not. It is.
Yeah.
But I really think also with more money, you get a different level of stress.
Okay. What type of stress would you say?
Like, I think you start thinking a lot more about probably long term and how to make your money work for you, especially when you have different streams of income. You just are dealing with, it gets a lot more complex to manage, in my opinion. So for us, we have a financial advisor, but we still manage our day to day on our own. But that's how then you quickly see people maybe start to outsource, and they'll have like their accountant. Then you probably run to stress with that because now that's somebody that's working for you, and then that brings its own challenges, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's stress just in a different way. I personally don't think it's realistic to think that like just because
you have more money
that like all the stress completely goes away and you never think. I think at the end of the day, lifestyle creep is a thing, and you still have to pay attention to your money. But it does alleviate like the day-to-day stress 1,000%. Yes.
Yeah. And I think one of the biggest things too is being satisfied with what you have, and like, because that's the thing with stress and money, it's like you're always gonna want more.
Yes.
And there's some problems that with life, it's always going to be something. I keep always saying that it's always going to be something that's going to come up with life when it comes to stress, right? But if you're satisfied with what you have and you make the best out of it, you can navigate, because it's always going to be something. So I think that's big.
I think the ideal, but although it's very hard, is to not fall into the lifestyle creep. I think that's very hard.
It's difficult.
Most people, like, I'm be honest, I fell into lifestyle creep. Okay? I am not an example of that. But like when you hear about people, for example, maybe they're now married and then they live off of 1% salary, that's probably like an ideal, right? Because they set themselves up in a much better place financially. But I think it also goes to your earlier question around balance, right? It's kind of like, what's important to you? Is it important to you that you have all that money that you know is saved and you're safe? Or maybe do you want to drive like the nicer car and live in the nicer house?
Or you can balance both.
Exactly. It's all about what does your balance look like?
Yeah. Because like one thing for me, like I always tell my friends this, like I like nice stuff. I like nice clothes and so on. But something that I will invest on is my car. Because I like driving. And I think, again, like growing up, my dad was like a big car person, big like motorcycle person. So cars always been my thing. So I was like, you know, if I can afford it and it's not like gonna mean crazy, why not? But then I have to give up like other stuff.
Other things,
so,
exactly. And I think to me that's what it means being smart. It's not to say that you're never going to do what it is that you want to do, but you have to just know where it is that you want to spend the money on versus where you're gonna pull back.
So what do you think is something, I mean, I know we just talked about balance and knowing what you want and what does that look for you, but what do you think is something general that is worth spending money on? I think traveling is one thing.
I agree. For me, travel is definitely a big one. I'm like you, I do like having a nice car. So that is a non-negotiable for me. I also do like the nice house. I do like being comfortable in my home. I like having enough space. I like living in a certain type of environment. So I will definitely spend money on home, cars, travel. So I honestly the only three big things. I'm not someone who cares a ton about clothes or bags or shoes.
I'm like the same way.
I
think the biggest thing too, I mean, people can have other perspectives, but when it comes to your house, right, where you live, it also affects your mental health. So let's say like you're crushing your money, you don't want to live in a one bedroom, and if you can afford it and if it's okay, and you're living with other people, you're sacrificing your mental health. And then like even with cars, I know for me personally, like I'm single, I don't really live with, or I don't really have like family men that are around me. I don't want to deal with car issues, which I think is one of the good things if you lease or invest in a newer car, is most things are taken care of, or you just won't have car issues unless you get into an accident, which happens to me. But but you know, like, and then traveling, you get to see other cultures, meet other people, have a different perspective, which can experiences, which can help you whether start a business or even help you in your job, like your day to day. You understand things better. So I think, like you said, those are I wouldn't
actually, I have a fourth, but yes,
okay, good.
Those are the three when I was younger. Now for me also, activities for my children. That's a non-negotiable for me. Like I don't even think about how much something is gonna cost. Like, if my kids want guitar lessons, French lessons, etc., like we're gonna pay for it. So that is definitely another source of what we pay for. And I guess childcare. Anybody has children,
health, entrance. Oh my god, the other day I'm not gonna say this because the person's on my Instagram, but some people don't invest in their like health insurance. They're like, they've never been to the doctor, or they don't go to the doctor, they don't want to invest. And I'm like, that's a problem.
It is. It's so much cheaper to be preventive and actually take advantage and go to the doctor regularly than for something to happen and you didn't catch it early and then to deal with the consequences of that.
I know somebody who's dealing with that right now. Actually, they have like stage 4 cancer. So
exactly, because it's so much harder. So it's so much more expensive too. Than just going. And this is why even health insurance plans are set up that way. When you have the routine checkups, you typically do not pay. Versus if you're going to see a specialist for something, most plans will have a copay of some kind. So even the system is set up to make it cheaper for you to be more preventative. So I 100% agree with you. Especially honestly as Black people too, there's a whole stigma, in my opinion, with the medical world and Black people that we need to just get over. Health is wealth.
I agree. And that's one thing. There is nothing that, like when it comes to your health, no matter how much money you have, if you have stage 4 cancer, you have stage 4 cancer.
It doesn't even matter anymore.
It doesn't matter. So invest in your health. What is something that people waste their money on, do you think? We talk about what's worth investing. What's worth...
From my perspective.
From your perspective.
Going to the club, buying bottles.
No, that's true. Especially
spending all this money at the club where I'm like, it is... I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm an old soul, but...
No, I feel the same way. Like, that section stuff. Like, if you do it for a birthday, whatever, that's what you want to do. But...
Yes, correct. If it's like a special event. But people are just doing that on a regular...
People go out on the weekend and spend thousands of dollars on a section and popping bottles. Like, I'm just like, what is going on?
That to me is...
Just to sit in the club with, like, glasses and look mysterious. Like, you're not even having fun.
I feel like it's even worse than, like, buying, a luxury bag. Because at least luxury bag, you should maybe sell it.
Yeah.
You can't sell the bottle that you just popped in the club. Like, that money is gone.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you had to say there's one thing that people should understand about money, what should it be?
They should definitely understand interest and compounding.
Okay.
So whether that's like saving, investing, I wish we were taught that more, honestly, and talked about it more. Even because I'll be honest, I don't fully get it.
Yeah.
Well,
me too. Well, not compounding. I think compounding is basic, but like there's a lot of like investing and saving stuff that I don't get.
Now, I guess for me, it's like I'm okay with not getting it because I have somebody else who's now managing it for me. But I do wish that, like, I do think it's important that we know, because there are so many ways to generate money without having to work hard. And if we understood it better, we probably could all just collectively just make more money.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be one thing I would say.
Why do you think it's why do you feel like money's so taboo? Like, besides like just social media, like I feel like people sometimes
like talking about money,
and also that just like gave me a thought about like going out a lot, and sometimes it's okay to say no, because I feel like especially at my age everything adds up. My friend was saying this, right? You go to dinner every week or 3-4 times a week and it's $100 every time. It's gonna add up. It's nothing now, but I think just being comfortable and having that discipline to say no is very important.
I think it's just cultural. I think it's one, people don't want to feel left out, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't want to stay at home and watching all of your friends having a great time.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna feel good about that.
Yeah.
That's just, to me, the reality of it. And I think it's just cultural. Like I do think that, like, for a very long time, we just don't really talk. You don't talk about how much money you have. Or at least it's not right to talk about how much money you have,
or how much money you make.
Don't have.
Yeah.
So I think we're still kind of in that era, and that's something that personally I feel very in the workplace. I'm someone who talks, especially to women, heavily about money.
Yeah.
So I think that, the gender pay gap is still a thing, and I do think that we do ourselves a disservice by not talking about money and how much we make, to be honest.
I think so too.
Yeah. Like I always see the story where, I hope I didn't say it in the last podcast, but where I left my first company. I was so comfortable at that company. I thought I was making good money. I was very, very comfortable. And someone, actually a male coworker who was more junior than me, told me how much he was making. And I was like, wait, what? I don't even make that. And he was shocked.
Yeah.
And just because he told me how much he was making, and I realized I wasn't making that, it like motivated me to leave that company, and I was able to dramatically change how much I was, and I was comfortable again. I didn't feel like I was underpaid. I was good. I was chilling.
Yeah.
But I was able to go into a new opportunity where I make so much more money. Where I do feel like if we were more comfortable talking about these things, we would actually see how much potentially we are worth and how much we could be making, and it will be beneficial.
Yeah, and I think that works really well too with like going out and interviewing when you work somewhere and you see your value.
Yes.
Because I think I remember when I told you what happened to me, and it's insane.
Yeah.
So yes, I think always, like, I know this is not the topic, jobs and interviewing, but always interview. After a year or two at a job, always interview. If you want to stay at your company, you can, I don't know, negotiate for a higher salary, ask for a higher salary based on what you see your worth in the market, but always interview, because
1,000%. I remember when I started my career in consulting, I had a partner tell me that. He said, never stop interviewing and not knowing what you are worth in the marketplace. That's the biggest disservice you could do for your career. So to this day, I pick up any call.
Yeah.
You want to talk to me? Let's talk.
Yeah.
I'm always interviewing somewhere.
Yeah.
So I agree 100% agree with that advice.
One last thing that just came to my mind too is, why do you think is like a good way to start a business while you're working a 9-to-5?
That's been the bane of my existence for the past year.
I know, because I think a lot of times there's like that other aspect of people tell you to start a business, never work for other people. I think having a 9-to-5 job is fine, but how do you extend like your resources more than that if you want to start something?
Yeah, I mean, I think the easiest way is if you can find something that you are good at, even if something that relates a little bit to your 9-to-5, that could be easy and not a huge burden as far as time or finances outside of that. So like, I even think about that. Now, the business I started has nothing to do with my 9-to-5, so that's been a whole different journey. But I even think about like small things, like, that I'm really good at. I'm like, maybe I should have just started like consulting on the side. I think it could be an easy way to start. Or if you have a hobby of some kind, you can start with something like that. Like I know people that will sell stuff on Etsy, and like they because they're very creative, and they're not building necessarily getting a lot of money, but it's kind of starting to diversify things. And then I think that starts just dipping your toe in until you can then maybe scale it or grow it to something else. So that would be the biggest thing. I wish I had done that more in my 20s, if I'm honest.
Like exploring your creative ideas.
Yeah, or even like doing like little consulting things on the side that I could do. Just to start being comfortable with the idea of doing something outside of my corporate career.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. But it's hard. It's hard to know what. It's hard to know. Yeah, at least for me, it was hard to know like what to do.
Yeah. I think for me too, it's like one of the biggest things because I'm like good at so many things and I have so many ideas, and it's just,
my advice to you, just stick to it. Be consistent. Because I do think that like, unlike me, and I tell her this all the time, but I feel like you were a lot bolder than I was in my 20s. Like, you're not hesitant to start things.
Yeah.
Like, even this podcast.
Yeah.
I remember my sister and we wanted to do a podcast for so many years.
Yeah.
I wanted to do a podcast on hair for so many years.
Yeah.
And I was always hesitant to put myself out there.
Yeah.
But you did it.
Yeah.
So I think
I think the biggest thing, is just starting.
It's just starting. But then for you, I think you don't have an issue starting. I
It's
think you have to stay consistent.
Yeah, I think so too.
Stay the course.
I agree.
Yeah.
So take what she told me and be consistent too, because I know a lot of people struggle with being consistent. So if you had to leave everybody with one thing when it comes to money, budgeting, or just life in their 20s, what would you say?
I would say be smart, but don't be scared of money.
Okay.
That's something I'm trying to tell myself too. I think for a very long time, I was a little bit scared of money, since I was always afraid I was going to run out, which is why like the whole debt thing and all my trauma around that. But I was reading a book. I forgot the name of the book, but it's by she's a serial entrepreneur, and she's very rich, and she kind of says that like, you can't be scared of money. The same way you might lose money, if you know how to make money, you will make more money. Okay. So I'm trying to get up that mindset of not letting my fears kind of consume me as it relates to money, so that I don't not make certain decisions. Like if you think about, like, for example, starting a side business, I think I'm starting to be a little less scared, but wanting to hog your money will probably prevent you from starting a side business, because that's going to cost you money, right? So being comfortable with spending money with the faith that it's just going to help you generate more money. You still have to be smart, but it will help you generate more money. Like, money comes and goes, and believe that. Money comes and goes. You will have money. You will be successful financially. And you're just
going to make the right decision.
Just make the right decision. Just be smart.
Yeah.
Just be smart.
All right. Thank you. That's it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed learning about our personal experiences. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share with a friend, comment, show some love, and I'll see you in the next app session.